Well, over there a few minutes ago I just got attempted pickpocket, and it was a very clever ruse. A couple comes up from me, nice looking lady, nice looking guy, and all of a sudden I feel something on my back, and the lady goes, "Ah, ave, ave." She points up in the tree to indicate that it's a bird. And then she starts cleaning me off, and he starts cleaning me off, but he's working the back while she's working the front. Finally I figure out, I reach into my white pocket where I keep my money in the zippered, and it's not there, and he's got his back to me, and I reach around behind and from behind, and I grab what he's got in his hand. It's got all my money in it, plus a brochure that he was holding that he would hide my money in. And what's interesting is I did smell something. It smelled like bird crap. So I don't know if they've set that up too, and maybe they had that on a handkerchief that they had me smell. But fortunately, I double checked everything, took my pack off because I felt they were doing something. They started to mess with that, and I kept my hand firmly on it. That's when I figured he was doing something in my pocket. I also figured that he was doing something in my bag, because it felt a lot more than just his wiping it off. Anyway, I don't think they got a thing. All the main money, all of the money that was mine I got back. And as a final point, I think they immediately jumped in a cab that perhaps was another person that was working for them. What they would have gotten, since I just put another couple of hundred peso in my pocket, they would have gotten about 300 peso plus, so probably about 100 and a half, which when dinner costs maybe 10 max for a good dinner, that's a fair amount of money for them. Little elements of the ploy was there was a second man standing in the street. Apparently he was the one summoning the cab, and he was calling me loco after I grabbed the brochure out of the guy's hand, but in the brochure was all my money. Quite clever, quite smooth. But now at least I feel confident that I know what it is that happens when that happens and how I'll kind of deal with it. That's totally different than getting mugged and beat up. A few minutes later, literally a minute or so later, as I walked around, 2 policemen on horseback came. They can't be everywhere, but they are a lot of places around here. This is one of the first areas that I crossed after my long walk around Puerto Madera. This is the Secretaria de Comunicación, which probably translates into House of Propaganda. This is for Juan de Carre, Colectivos España, whatever that means. It looks like it's in the garb of Christopher Columbus, so it must reflect the early days. I don't think these fountains were running the other day, but they're pretty. Fountains always are. This is Diagonal Norte that runs up to the Plaza de Republique, which is where that obelisk is that we saw the other day. And I'm still standing in the Plaza de Mayo. I'll just pan through this frieze. Presumably 2 nobles meeting each other for some reason. This Baroque church or cathedral is a landmark, but its most important attribute is that it's the tomb of General San Martin, who is the national hero, the George Washington, if you will, of Argentina. Guess we'll wander down there and see what that is. This is the legislature of the city autonomous, I think is what that means, of Buenos Aires. But look at the size of these doors. This statue has on it the name Roca, R-O-C-A. What it stands for, I don't know. Very Roman looking, however, this statue here. What it stands for, I don't know. It's been marked up by those who seek change through somewhat violent demonstrations. An interesting chunk of architecture. This is right next to that Manzana de Luces. It's at the corner of Bolivar and one street up or one block up from Belgrano. I'm guessing that that's a water tank up there. That's interesting. This I saw when I was walking along before I got pickpocketed. I took a view way up the street of this. These little corners that are the source of most people's produce. Hola, señor. Nicely redone building. These are nice buildings in here. Haven't been restored, but they're in pretty darn good condition. Should say clean there, in good condition. The light green, the Rosada. Would look very pretty if they redid it now. An old Ford for sale. Got funky cars right around here. The telephone in it, that must be a ruse. Some kind of a market. And obviously the tour people are here. Down as far as you can see, probably up to that park that I first had lunch in.